WWOR. What's the first thing that comes to mind when you see those call letters?
Out of this world.
Must be time for Rollins Smith.
WWOR-TV. What's the first thing that comes to mind? Truth is, they're both the same station, and more. And what's even more interesting is how this station became a powerhouse and now an outhouse for WNYW Fox 5.
Hey, Audie, turn on Channel 9.
Yeah, sure.
Our story begins on October 10th, 1949, when WWOR-TV, then owned by Macy's through Bamberger Broadcasting Service. We fast forward to 1952, when RKO, yes, that RKO, bought WOR AM, FM, and TV, and it operated on Channel 9. RKO later merged with General Tire and Rubber to form RKO General. However, there was a big heap of trouble for the company, as it sought to renew its license for its sister station, KHJ Radio and TV. RKO was in trouble with the U.S. government for violating the Sherman Act, which prohibits companies merging together to form a monopoly. In short, General Tire was caught manipulating the markets, and thus began a 2 to 3 decade challenge by the Federal Communications Commission to see if they are worth keeping the license. By the 1980s, RKO General had to give up the license for its Boston station, WNAC-TV, which in turn became WNEV-TV, and thus fearing for its survival. But it got a lifeboat when Senator Bill Bradley fought tooth and nail to move WOR-TV's license away from New York to New Jersey, namely Secaucus, New Jersey, under the condition that Channel 9 has to provide news and public affairs for the New Jersey audience.
Hello, I'm Tom Dunn.
And I'm Sarah Lee Kessler.
Starting September 14th, Channel 9's News at Noon will cover more of your world with New York's only hour-long midday report.
We'll have headline news and features about people and places.
Ken Pruitt with the business report.
Film and theater critic Judith Christ.
Mary Ann Pedersen on family activities.
And family medical guidance from Dr. Lendon Smith.
Plus consumer updates, shopping tips, and visits to affordable restaurants.
News at Noon, a full hour. Join us starting September 14th.
And so, in 1983, WOR-TV moved to said area under the newly formed 9 Broadcast Plaza. Yet, the damage to RKO's reputation was done, and so, in 1985, GenCorp, formerly General Tire, had to put WOR-TV for sale for $400 million. Interestingly, 2 suitors came into play as to who would own the station. One name came into mind was Westinghouse, better known as Group W, which owns stations in Philadelphia, Baltimore, Pittsburgh, and yes, Boston, not to mention San Francisco. Another name, Chris Craft, a boating company that owned a few television stations in Phoenix, Los Angeles, and Minneapolis. This name's important, so bear with us. Yet, it was MCA that was the victor that bought the station for $387 million, and they put their mark on it by 1987.
Serving New Jersey, New York, and Connecticut. You're watching Channel 9, WWOR-TV.
MCA had made good on its promise to clean up Channel 9. Under RKO's ownership, aside from Mets baseball and the $1 Million Movie block, the programming consisted of reruns of Bewitched, The Partridge Family, Heart to Heart, and reruns of Vegas. As for kids programming, Romper Room was the only program that catered to a small audience. And yet, under MCA's leadership, WWOR-TV acquired stronger shows due to its ties with Universal Studios, such as Knight Rider, The A-Team, as well as Amen later in 1990. Other shows include Kate and Allie, Who's the Boss? And yes, the show with the Huxtables. If you know, you know. WWOR also invested in its news department by moving News 9 primetime, which started in 1983, to 10 p.m., and in 1988, hiring former WCBS anchorman Rollin Smith to be the face of the newscast. So much so, they even made a promo about it.
French fries, you gotta move down the other end. I got coffee if I got pastrami. Have a tomato. Pickles.
That's my pickles, thank you very much.
Who ordered the pastrami?
Must be time for Rollin Smith.
It must be time for Rollin Smith. Weeknights at 10 on Channel 9.
In the daytime, they added 2 shows. People Are Talking with Richard Bay, which later merged to become 9 Broadcast Plaza, and Evening Magazine in the fall of 1987. Initially, the station thought to be sold to Group W, as they are both franchises of the company. For cartoons, given the heavy competition from WNYW Fox 5 and WPIX Channel 11, WWOR aired The Jetsons, Bugs and Daffy, and Beverly Hills Teens, among others. And on the weekends, The Fantastic World of Hanna-Barbera and a locally produced kids block was hosted by Mario Cantone. The show? Steam Pipe Alley. Also joining the lineup was Superboy, The Munsters Today, and much more.
There are all kinds of talented people in the world. Let me show you. Amazing. Extraordinary. Incredible. But even more incredible. Hi. He's not supposed to do that.
I'm not supposed to do this either.
It's supposed to be a secret.
My Secret Identity, Sunday at 4:30 on Channel 9.
MCA's ties to WWOR was so unique that the station rechristened itself on September 1st, 1990 as Universal 9. As Universal 9, they fully embraced themselves by adding more first-run programming, such as Superforce, They Came from Outer Space, She-Wolf of London, and a few Canadian-produced shows such as Neon Rider and Dracula the Series. However, there was an interesting caveat. In the same year, the owners of Panasonic, Mashutsa Electronics, bought MCA. Since they were a Japanese-owned company, FCC laws prohibited foreign ownership up to 25%. For WWOR, the station was spun off to a company called Pinelands Incorporated, yet they retained the Universal 9 branding until 1992. Guess who came back in the running to buy WWOR? As Pinelands Incorporated sold the station for an undisclosed amount of money. Reason? The launch of the United Paramount Network, or UPN. Check out Connor Higgins' video to see more about the rise and fall of the network. WWOR was rechristened as UPN 9, as it acquired more shows such as Ricky Lake and Morton, among others. Around this time, former WCBS and WABC anchor Ernie Anastas joined the 10 p.m. newscast alongside Brenda Blackman. Throughout the 70s and all the way to the 90s, WWOR-TV was a station that was unconventional. First with the debut of the Morton Downey Jr. show, then hiring Howard Stern to have his own show in which both him and Morton Downey went nationally syndicated. And then you have the morning shows, such as 9 Broadcast Plaza, which later absorbed into The Richard Bay Show, also nationally syndicated. Yet they were behind WPIX and WNYW in the ratings and in the news race, even with Rollin Smith at the helm. In the year 2000, due to the merger with Viacom and CBS, Chris Kraft had to get out of the television business and sell their properties to Fox, which made WWOR and WNYW sister stations. For starters, after 9/11, Fox Kids programming moved to WWOR-TV while the station emphasized itself on local news. Very soon, other shows were added to the mix, such as The Simpsons, who left their longtime home at WNYW. After UPN shut down in 2006, Fox's response to the CW, My Network TV, took over, and the station was rechristened again as My 9, but not without its caveats. For starters, the primetime newscast, then known as The 10 O'Clock News, was canceled in favor for a show called Chasing New Jersey, later Chasing News. However, that was canceled in favor of reruns of Family Feud. So now that WWOR programming and intellectual properties now return to New York via WNYW, although the license remained in Secaucus, New Jersey, what is the future of WWOR? A growing trend in most Fox-owned duopolies might be an answer. In Orlando, WRBW, My 65, became Fox 35+. WDCA Channel 20 became Fox 5+. And KDFI Channel 27 became Fox 4 More, just to name a few. Since WWOR's heritage and history is too iconic to be rebranded, that could face an uphill challenge. Will we see a Fox 5+? Will we see a Fox 5+ in the New York metro area? Who knows? Whether the call letters had 3 or 4, Channel 9 had a rich history from its annual airings of King Kong on Thanksgiving to the airings of The Adventures of Superman, to acquiring stronger sitcom reruns. One must understand that WWOR Channel 9's efforts was not in vain.